Hey, well, hello everyone. I'm so excited to see you all. Good to have you here today on this cooler morning here in Santa Cruz. It's definitely changing the weather. Fall is happening. And I see some of you are bundled up, sweaters and everything. So looks like it's the same on the other side of the world as well. So we have a lot of charts that I want to discuss today, and we'll have to wait and see how far we go because I really want to make sure I do justice to the charts that have been submitted and the questions that have been asked. And so it's not my intention to rush through everything just to get things done, which would be my, as you can see here, my completely open root center, that pressure that would otherwise make me want to rush through everything so I could just check things off. Instead, I'm following my inner guidance and letting my emotions and my gut response tell me when I feel that the energy is still available, both for myself and for all of you, or when I feel that the energy of the call is getting to a close. And one of the interesting things that I noticed is that we have a lot of projectors on today's call, which will be really wonderful because there were quite a number of questions about what it's like to be a projector. So how about we go ahead and delve in today? And as usual, I will start with just a quick introduction, a quick review, and there we go, before we delve into the charts themselves. So I love this beautiful picture because it really pulls together everything that human design is. As you know, human design is a synthesis of a number of different wisdom systems. You can see the I Ching hexagrams all around. There are 64 of them, which makes it different from astrology because in human design we divide the sky up into these hexagrams, while in astrology we look at the signs. So we take all of that into consideration. We take into consideration where the different planets are activated, and then we come into this figure in the center which depicts the chakras. And as you can see, we're no longer a 6-center or 7-centered being. We are now a 9-centered chakra being. And all these different gates that you see on the outside here have a particular placement in the chart. Some of them will be activated by the particular planet in that hexagram at that moment of your birth, or at the moment 3 months before your birth. There we go. So here you can get an idea of what the, I call it the working chart, looks like. So here you see the information on the right-hand side is the moment of your birth. It's the personality. It's what we are familiar with. We also have information about 3 months before birth, which really goes into that deeper level in you, that information that you're not always aware of, but what your soul is here, that your soul decided this is what you need in this lifetime. And what happens is when we put all these different numbers together, we activate those different channels, then we start to see black and reds and sometimes overlapping the black and red. This is the information that you can rely on, all the information that's colored in your chart. This is who you are. What I want to make really clear is even though there might be information that's white, not colored in, it doesn't mean that you never have access to that, because as you saw, we are surrounded by all these different star fields. These planets keep moving, so they keep connecting in us in a different way. They keep making different transits that will bring out different aspects for us. Some of those we will be less sensitive to, and others we will feel in a number of different expressions, if you will. So we all of the chart, even though something may not be activated in you, you will at certain points feel it. It just may not have as much impact in you. You'll just feel it like, I'm feeling a little different today, something like that. Okay. So then we have, as you saw, the different the figure with the different centers colored in. The way that the energy flows between the centers creates your aura, creates your human design type. And we have 5 different types. Two of those have the same kind of aura. So here we have the generator aura, and the manifesting generator aura, which is really warm, enveloping, welcoming, bringing in lots of opportunities. And that's where the generator response comes in, that says, wait, which one is right for me, yes or no? And there's a potential for a generator to become overwhelmed. There's also potential for the generator to become frustrated when they're not living their design, versus when they are living their design and they're in this state of flow, this sense of satisfaction. Okay. To the right-hand side, we have the projector. And I know I'm just racing through this information. For most of you, this will already be review. For some of you, it's just a little bit of extra information when you're just coming into human design, so that you'll have a little bit more of a background when we delve into the people's charts. So just bear with me for a moment longer. So the projector, it has this very special energy. As you can see, this aura is really focused, right? The projector's aura is focused to who is in front of them. So they do really well by reading the energy of a large group and then focusing in, honing in on the person in front of them, and really get deep, deep, deep insight, this deep recognition what this person is all about. Now, of course, if you have that kind of a focused aura, it means that it may not always be comfortable for the person in front of you. So the person in front of you needs to invite you. You need to be invited in a particular way to have the okay for you to focus your energy there. And we'll definitely go into that a little bit more in a little bit. Again, there's many questions about what it's like to be a projector, so we'll go into that more. Then we have the manifesting aura, the manifester, who is very different. Now, there is a distinction between the way that in the recent conscious studies we talk about manifesting, what it's like to manifest your reality, very different from what manifester is and does. A manifester, as you can see, their aura is contained, so they're not as open to other people's influences. They're really, really good at seeing potential changes, things that could be better, things that could be changed, things that might be different, and they're able to catalyze that. And they just want to do that. They don't really have time for interaction to see if something feels right or responds right, or, they're really wanting to just go ahead and do it. And then along the way, ideally let other people know, hey, by the way, this is what I'm doing. Because if they just set out and make changes, the people around them feel really uncomfortable. It's like, things around you are changing and you don't have any control or insight on what exactly is happening, but the manifester does. They know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it and such. So for the manifester, for them to create a sense of peace for themselves so that they can actually get to the success that they want to create, it's best to let other people know what it is that they're up to. Otherwise, they get that resistance, and that can be so, it can create anger in them. Like, why don't you just let me do my way? So for a manifester, again, to inform is the best way to create some space so that they can do what they want to do. And then last but not least, we also here have a reflector. The reflector energy is just so beautiful. What I love about this picture is this woman who is standing in front of all these glass windows, and that's kind of what it's like to be a reflector. You're kind of on your own in a sense. Your aura is a diffuse aura that samples other people, that samples the environments around you, and just knows what's going on. This is the person who, I don't want to say cannot be influenced, because you can, but you are here to live a very, very different life. And as a reflector, your way of being is very different from all the other ways of being. Yours is according to the lunar cycle. You need to take your time before you are able to make a decision, so that you can sample and ask and talk with people. And it's not to get their opinion, it's not to get their insights, it's to hear yourself talk, so that as the moon is influencing you in so many different ways throughout the month, you get a different experience of what that particular issue is that you're working on, and you get to really get the right overview of what you want to achieve. And then you can do things, then you can make miraculous things happen. Okay. Phew. That was a whirlwind overview. And now that we have that as a foundation, let's go into the charts. So here we have Gail, and Gail sent in this really, really great question, because she is a 2/4 projector. And she says, I probably need to buddy up with some manifestors and generators. And what else do I need to know or to do to build my business in a way that feels authentic to her, so that she can successfully attract clients that are best for her to work with, that are meant for her to work with? Gail, are you here on the call? If so, if you can unmute yourself.
I am here, Mariah.
Hello. Hi. Good to see you. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what your experience is as a 2/4 projector at this moment, trying to get clients.
It's so much easier for me to serve than to find.
Yes.
Because when I'm serving, we can go deep. We can be focused in that way. That's what they're looking for me to help them with. And so that feels very easy and really great.
Yes.
But the question is how to find them, especially if, as a projector, I'm not the manifestor and generator who just warmly envelops everybody and draws them in. That's not what my energy is like.
Yes, exactly.
And, I'm really not drawn to speak to big groups, although that would be the way for people to at least become aware of me so that they could invite me.
Yes.
So
exactly.
The question is how to be out there enough to be known and invited so that we can do the great deep work.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so here are a number of things that I see in your specific chart, and then we tie the being projector to that as well. So as you mentioned earlier, you are a 2/4 projector. Now the 4 in your design has that warm, welcoming energy in and of itself. It's heart-based. So the more you are able to come from that heart-based space, the more that frequency can bring other people in. In other words, you do well to get clients through networking. Okay, because that way people can get a feel for you and an experience of you, and that way that's the networking is a natural connection, and you've got quite a number of 4s in there, so the natural networker is something that you have. Then I also see that you have this 40-37, and the 37-40, this channel of community. You make people feel like they are part of your family. Okay, so there is this way in how when you are connecting with people, there is this warmth that comes from you, this sense of, oh, I am part of her community. So there's a couple different things that I'm seeing as a projector. You're right that working with manifestors or generators, those are really great ways. I do something that's called BG5, where you put different groups together, up to about 5 or 6 people, where you're creating like a business profile of people bringing in different skills. And the projector is actually the one that's usually outside of that group, because, first of all, being inside of that group would possibly overwhelm you with the amount of energy. It's not something for you to sustainably do, but to go in and out of the group and guide the group, because you can see where a group needs to go. Does that make sense so far?
Mm.
And this is for any projector, by the way. Any projector has this ability to see where people fit, to see where people need to go, to see where the energy is put to use best. And so for you to surround yourself in a small group where you're all able to focus on delivering some kind of value to your community, right? Then you're bringing in your community, that feeling that people are part of your family, because people want to belong. People want to feel that feeling, and you are able to bring that. When you focus on someone, when you show your smile, people with this channel, the 3740, often have this really beautiful smile that really draws people in. So as this projector, you are then invited to give your value. Okay?
Okay.
So that is one thing that I'm seeing. How is that resonating so far?
I like the sound of it. It's good.
Good. Okay.
Thinking about how I might have seen some of that.
Okay, that's great. That's perfect. So the other part that I'm seeing here, you have what we call a triple split design, right? You have 3 different areas. So here there is a tendency for you to live from your mind, while your real authority comes from this emotional wellness. So I would highly suggest for you to actually sit with what it is that you're wanting to do, knowing that your wisdom comes over time. You will have flashes of insight. You will have information that will benefit others as you're speaking to them. But your inner wisdom really comes through this emotional center. So bring yourself into those environments, whether those are network meetings, whether those are workshops where you are maybe attending other people's workshops, but it is an opportunity to get to know people and to show your insights by letting that 2-4 profile do their work. And also this 44th gate, this is the gate of, this is all entrepreneurial what you have here, by the way, but this 44th gate is this gate of patterns that is able to see whoever you're talking with and just really see where and how they fit within, the program, where they fit within a particular business. This is the gate of the personnel manager. So you have all these different components that are really welcoming, really friendly, really great in building connections. And that is how your work should come to you, your clients should come to you. For you going out, that's not going to work, because you're pushing people away that way. But for you, if you see a network meeting, like a meetup or something, that's an invitation. And what is most important for you is to recognize whether or not that invitation is right for you, because you will get invitations, but the more aligned you are with your specific design, in other words, is this supporting my community? Is this what I feel is supporting my community? Is this in alignment with my inner truth? This is your sun, right? Inner truth is really important to you. You will notice when people speak bullshit. So is this in alignment with what you really feel? Is this, this is this channel of that ambition, that ability to align yourself with the people that move you forward. When you are aligned with all of these, the universe cannot help but bring you in contact with the right opportunities. Yeah?
That sounds interesting and appealing, and I would love to learn how to do that.
All right. So the quickest and best way, of course, is to just follow this part, your emotional awareness. And then I do offer coaching. Just want to mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Continuous coaching on this. But the best way for you to be in alignment is always, where is my invitation coming from? And am I in alignment with my feeling? If I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling unsettled, then there is no clarity yet. Okay.
Okay.
And in the meantime, you can still do, your daily thing. The invitation, as a projector, you will receive invitation in the important things in life. It's not that you're going to get invitations all the time. It's just being aware of the work situation, places to live, and people to align yourself with. Who am I in relationship with, close relationship with? That's where you really want to pay attention to the invitation. And for the rest, follow this emotional center and let your mind be as amazing as it is, and just recognize that it doesn't hold your truth. Truth for other people, not yours. Yeah?
Got it.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Thanks, Gail. Okay. So here is Micah. Thanks for submitting your questions. Really, really cool. And if you're willing to unmute yourself, we'd love to hear you as well. And Micah is also a projector, and Micah says, my biggest takeaway from human design so far, as well as my biggest challenge, is to speak my words of wisdom only when I'm invited. I love that. That's great learning. That's great learning, and it's so true. So what are you noticing with that? How's it working for you?
I can keep quiet now if I feel that I'm not invited. Not always. Or if I speak too much, then I also notice. Well, before I've been, landing in the situations, especially with people with animals, and I know a lot about cat nutrition. People wouldn't be interested in feeding them their animals properly, and it sometimes ended up in our parting ways. And I understand why, because I just wasn't invited. They weren't ready.
There you go. Exactly.
And that was my biggest insight when I found out about, through you actually. Remember on the interviews with a Stargate lady?
Yes. Last year, yeah.
Design, that was it. And that was my biggest revelation about
Yes, beautiful. And you know what? You're saying something that is so important too, that as long as you're living your strategy, that everything else will fall into place. We always try to figure things out, and the rest of the chart that you see in front of you is all gorgeous and it's wonderful, and learning about all the different, aspects is great and validating. But if you just follow your strategy, everything else will fall into place. So that's really great insight to hold and to practice with. Okay, so you had questions about your Chiron return and your Saturn return. And so I looked at your second Saturn, by the way. So I looked at your Chiron. Yeah.
Because I cannot remember, because I moved around Britain so much that I remember that different, like I was, I call it deaths and rebirths, because I've got the conjunction between my Sun and Pluto in Leo in my chart. So it's feels like different lifetimes.
Yes, exactly.
See the Chiron influence.
Yeah. So what Chiron brought into your chart, so for people who are not familiar with Chiron, so we have, as we go through life, there are several cycles in our lifetime where we are getting the opportunity to delve deeper into our life, to get an opportunity to toss away what no longer serves us so that we can be on track and really be aligned with who it was that we came in here to be and really live out our purpose. Now, Chiron is a big one in that, and that usually is around age 50. I'm saying usually, it's sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later, and it takes a few years to integrate. It's not that on the date of your Chiron return, all of a sudden, boom, everything changes. It's really, you're living into it. Like for me, I'm living into my Chiron return at this moment, and I'm definitely noticing it. It's a really intense and potent time, and it's a beautiful time at the same time, because you're getting this opportunity to see, again, what no longer serves, and toss that and really become deeper. So for Micah, what that meant was, here we go, this 26th gate. This 26th gate came in from her design, and then the 5th gate came in from her personality. Now, design, as you know, it's unconscious. You may not always be aware of it, but around this time, what came in was this 26, the gate of accumulation. And accumulation is this ability to talk to people in a way that's really convincing. There is the potential for it to be manipulative. It's the gate of the salesperson, and we often say that people with this gate have the opportunity or the ability to sell refrigerators to, Inuits. In other words, you can really speak to the person in front of you, and if you are not in integrity, you can manipulate people. So that's the whole game. It's, am I in integrity? And how aligned am I with my integrity? And then the other gate that came in was the 5th gate. Now this is interesting, right? Because the 5th gate also makes this whole channel. It now becomes this full channel. And this particular channel is the channel of rhythm. So no longer, you may have around that time, Micah, realized that that you needed to create certain structures, that you needed to create different rhythms for yourself. And the rhythm is more one that is waiting for the universe to give the right timing, versus, nights of staying up until 3 o'clock and only sleeping a few hours, which could be a pattern in and of itself with just a 15th gate. And with the 5th gate coming in, there was much more of a desire of creating rhythms and creating a particular structure within your day and within your week, your month. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'll have to look at it deeper, but yeah. Is it 2/12? Do you mean it's 12th of February or 2nd of December? Yes.
Let me see.
American way of writing. Chiron.
Yes, February 12th.
February 12th.
Yes. Yeah. And then the, let's see, the Saturn return, your second Saturn return. So your second Saturn return is this opportunity to, again, it's kind of your last chance, right? It's your last chance where life says, okay, you've got all these chances to toss what no longer serves. This is it. You either going to do it or you don't. And so this is the opportunity where everything else up in your chart will come up in arms if it's not right for you, if you were not in alignment at that time. And so again, for you, it's all about being the projector, being invited, living a life through all that you know, and getting your answers from outside of you by talking to other people. And you will hear yourself say those things that are resonating for you. You'll hear those things that you say that are not resonating for you. And the thing is that you have such a clever mind, This 4th gate that you have with the 4th line here, this is the one that can find an answer for every single question. Even if there's no question, you'll find an answer anyway. So there is a potential to try to make things up. And what I'm suggesting to you in general is talk about it to other people, to hear how you resonate with what you're saying, kind of like the reflector does as well. It's that outer authority. And then with that Saturn return, tossing what's no longer serving. Now you're seeing your Saturn, here we go, here's my mouse, is in the 47th gate and the 64th gate. So It has everything to do with your way of thinking, of coming up with many options, many opportunities. You know, you're making this channel with it. So I'm guessing that around that time of your Saturn return, which was November 2nd, 2008, you found yourself coming into this place where you were really trying to make sense of everything around you, really trying to find meaning in everything that had happened in your life, and trying to place it within the story of your life. Now, as you notice, it has a different life theme, the theme of 4 ways. And with that life theme, what happens is that you will find yourself having times where you really want to be outward in the world, and then having real times where you just want to be by yourself. It's this constant back and forth, being out and being by yourself. Does that make sense?
Definitely, more and more.
Yeah. So that's healthy for you. That's right for you.
So Saturn return, how long would it influence you? Because it's 11 years.
It is creating this new phase. So it will always be there, part of you. Like everything else is always part of you. And there will just be moments where you'll feel more drawn, like, okay, I'm not feeling fully in alignment. And when you're not fully in alignment, everything else comes up too. Okay. You have, what I like to say, many different opportunities to get back into alignment. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'll listen to it several times. Somebody here had a question about my strategy, but it wasn't clear.
Okay. So Sue, hi Sue, glad to have you here. So Sue asked about the strategy as Micah is muffled. Okay, so the strategy for Micah is to be invited, right? To be recognized and invited. And what Micah was talking about was that she recognized that she had a tendency to just spew the amount of information that she has, this valuable information in cat nutrition, and that people were not always able or willing to hear that because she was not invited, that she now recognizes that she was not invited. But when you are invited, people are open and willing and available to hear that information. Yeah? Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else before we move on?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll listen again.
All right. Excellent. And I apologize. The landscapers are coming by today, so we're getting a little extra heightened energy. Let's call it that way. Okay. So here we have Judy's chart, and Safia, we haven't talked about your chart just yet, so no worries. Okay, so Judy has an interesting question because Judy, I did her reading a few years ago, and she has the 32nd gate 3 times, twice with the first line and once with the third line. So I always say whenever you have a particular gate in your chart twice or 3 times or even more, then it really means something for you. There is a significance there. And Judy said she started the Gene Keys, which is an amazing body of work that is from Richard Rudd. And the 32nd gate, or a key, represent failure or fear of failure. And if I could allude a little bit on that. So in human design, Judy, the 32nd gate is called duration. And that will make more sense when I read to you from the Book of Lines, that is Chetan Parkin's Book of Lines. And I will speak with the mic a little closer to my mouth, and hopefully you'll all be able to hear me. So the 32nd gate, duration, is this gate of being able to be in tune with the universe, to when the wind is shifting and how to align with that, where the changes come from. Now, what Richard Rudd says and what Chetan puts in his Book of Lines is that all adjustments that you make to your life's endeavors are tested by time, leading to the realization that endurance is a vital asset. So the keywords that the Gene Keys talks about are failure, and then conservatism to veneration. Sorry about the background noise. So for the 30-second gate, yes, the shadow side is that fear of failure. And what do we do when we're afraid? When we're afraid to fail, we hold on really tight. We don't want to move. So we become what's called disjointed or even fundamentalist in our beliefs, in the way that we are in the world. We don't want to step anything outside of what we know or how we know things. That's the shadow side. Now, as you move through that, as you become more open to what this gift is in this gate, and I have to be honest, I love the Gene Keys. I am not fully studied in it. So I'm just extrapolating from that and from what I know from human design, is the gift in that fear of failure is to move to this place where you're coming into conservatism, where you're realizing these are the pieces that need to be protected, that need to be supported. And I'm also available to step out of that to learn the new, to where you get to veneration, to where you get to recognize that everything is awe, everything is beautiful. But in order to get to that point, it needs endurance. And that's where the duration comes from. So the 30-second gate in an undefined center, because as you can see, this is undefined. Now, what we know about an undefined center, Judy, is that you don't always rely on it, right? It's not always there and available to you. When it is activated usually by other people around you. So therefore, that 30-second gate is available to help others recognize when it is time for them to change course. You know, there is this sense of scent connected to the 30-second gate, this ability to kind of sniff out what is right, what is wrong, what the right direction is, when it's time to make a move. So with that 30-second gate, you have that activated there. There is the potential, when you are paying attention, to be able to help other people shift direction. And also the awareness that if you are not in alignment, when you're not paying attention, the 30-second gate can be totally like a blank to you. So it means that maybe you won't be able to tell people when to go into a different direction because you may not see it, right? The moment can go past that way. Does that make sense? Judy, I'm not sure if you're here. Okay, so Judy, I hope that was helpful, and do let me know even by email if that made sense. I always love to hear that. And let's move on to Lauloa. Let me extrapolate a little bit more about what we talked about being a projector, because Lauloa had a question about this. As you can see, Lauloa has these 3 different centers defined. And for Lauloa, that means that a lot of this is white. A lot of this has a lot of influence from the people around her. Influence from the stars, influence from environments. So to really hold on to, where am I grounded? And what do I feel about the different things that I'm noticing around me? About when it's time to move, about where it is time to move to. So as a projector, the same thing comes back. It's about being invited. It's about, it doesn't mean having to sit at home on your hands and not being able to do anything. It means putting yourself in those environments where people can recognize you. And the way that they will recognize you best is the stronger, the more aligned you are with who you are, with those parts of you that you can truly rely on, the more, every projector has their own special frequency, and the more aligned you are with that beautiful frequency that is you, the more the right people will be able to catch that frequency. if you're not aligned internally, your frequency will be distorted, and you will attract different people that are not the right people for you. Now, one way for you to notice this is, am I feeling bitter? Am I feeling that the people around me are not treating me well? That's always a good sign for you to recognize I'm not in the right place. If you are in an environment that's not beautiful to your senses, look at this, there's my mouse, look at this beautiful open center of the self. So with the center of the self, we always want to be in an environment that's beautiful to your senses. If you're in that environment, then the people that are around you will be more aligned with you, will be the right people that will bring in the right opportunities. And then it's just being able to just let your frequency do the talking and see who comes to you. In other words, bring yourself to those network environments, to those different places where your people might be hanging around, and then practice your inner alignment so that those people can come to you and can recognize you. And that is an invitation. So Laloa, I hope that helps. And I want to open this up very briefly to any of the other projectors here on the call. Do you have any thoughts, any comments about what it's like to be a projector? Anything that you want to share about that? Okay. I don't know about any of you, but I have been feeling like it's Mercury retrograde. It's not yet, but it's been feeling like it. I've had really interesting technical issues, and oh my gosh, it's been fascinating. All right. Nobody, any comments? You're welcome to put it into the chat if you have any comments about what it's like for you to be a projector, the things that you resonate with, and where you're noticing that it may be difficult for you, because I think it's very helpful to hear of each other. You know, I can make it sound really simple, just wait for the invitation, but there are so many different ways in how that invitation can come and how that feels for you, how you recognize that that is a right invitation for you. Anything that you're willing to share, please do so, because I think it will be helpful to everybody. So in the meantime, I will go on to Bhuvana's question. Bhuvana, are you on the call today? If so, you can unmute yourself. Bhuvana wrote a beautiful email in Dutch, which I decided not to post here because nobody else would understand it. But basically her experience is that this disjointed feeling, and Zara says, I'm a generator. Is this call focused on projectors? That's a really great question. No, but there are a lot of projectors on the call, so that's why I wanted to bring a little bit more in this too. And she says a lot of it does seem to resonate too. And this is really a good point, Zara. Thank you for that, because yes, you may be a generator, but as I mentioned earlier, we are all of the chart, right? And some of these connections in the chart are projector connections. They are not generator connections. So in other words, some of those things that you're resonating with as a generator simply may be because that is a particular projector connection. Like this connection, if you as a generator have that, this is a, both of these actually are projector connections. So you will resonate with that invitation. Anything that's around the throat tends to be projector oriented, not this one, but all the other ones. So there is a lot of that recognition that is so helpful when people feel recognized, when they feel invited, that, oh, this is an opening, so I can finally talk. Oh, perfect. Yes. So that makes sense, Zara. So yes, that is a projector connection there. Okay. So Bhuvana, as I mentioned, notices this disjointedness between the external and the internal. She has this beautiful internal experience of feeling very aligned in her own spirituality, and especially when she's connected with music or connected with children, that is really something that that is a right place for her to be. But the outside is just not happening for her in terms of like the material feedback financially. Okay, so this is a really important thing that I want to bring in, because she asked about her life path. So Bhuvana, your life path, your theme is the theme of contagion, and you can see this beautiful 8th gate that you have here, your sun. This is this gate that wants to bring people together to contribute around shared goals and around shared projects. And whether that is you creating a project and bringing people together for that, or whether that is someone else creating projects and you supporting that, this is something, when you talk about it, there is this enthusiasm that you have that draws people in. And that's a big, big part of who you are. This is your life path, to help people get together around shared content, around something shared that you can then help move forward. Because again, you are this projector. You have a certain oversight, and you are able to guide that group of people into the right direction. Now, it's not comfortable for you to be around these people all the time, so you kind of have to dip in and out, but that is something that you're bringing. When you're talking about the material aspect of that, how can you materialize that? How can you get the finances out of that? You know, you have this 14th gate, and this 14th gate is your earth. This is where you ground yourself. Now, the fact that you don't have this activated, this sacral center activated all the time, means that it will only be active when you're around other people that have that center activated, which means generators. And so for you, a natural environment to bring in more material possessions, or more of those material resources, that prosperity, which is what that gate really is all about, is for you to be around other people. And be careful with that, because it can, here we go, this sacral center can overwhelm you. You know, it's a really yumminess to delve into, to plug into, to feel that hum energy, that motor that just keeps going, can be really exciting for you. Just make sure that you keep checking in with yourself. Okay, am I emotionally still feeling balanced, or am I feeling like I'm getting just anxious? Am I feeling like I'm being pulled in a direction that I don't want to go in? Because then you need to subtract yourself from the equation. Then you need to take time to be by yourself, because when you are then by yourself, you're able to put all these different experiences into this beautiful story that you can then tell. I'm imagining that you, when you're around children, are able to just tell these amazing stories to them and really just infuse them with this sense of wonder that you can bring, and this brightness that you can share, that enthusiasm that can really draw them in. So I hope that is somewhat helpful, but that's what I see for you, to be around other people. Again, like I said with the previous person, in an environment where you feel beautiful, whether that means putting a bouquet of flowers on your table, or putting an altar in your room. A place that is beautiful to your senses is the right environment for you. If you go and work in a particular organization where the moment you walk in you feel being dulled, not the right place for you. It needs to kind of open that up for you. And then the people that are there will be able to offer you, they'll be the right people. They'll be able to offer you the right circumstances. So again, for you too, to be as aligned with who you are, so your frequency can bring those people in. Okay? So just a very short, deep dive into your design. I hope this was helpful. And here we get to Sophia. Now look at this beautiful chart. This is a reflector chart. Reflector is a very, very different type than most people. And let's just see what you write about this, Sophia. Because Sophia, what you write is, it's a challenge I'm continuously facing, is the inability to hold friendships for a long term, unless it's on a surface level. I often feel like I don't fit in anywhere, and I struggle with family. I get frustrated and overwhelmed when I'm with my family too long, and then I feel like I really need to be away with them. You know, if I could only live in isolation, but as human beings, we tend to thrive in society. Sophia, I see you unmuting yourself. Thank you. Hi. Good to see you. So first of all, as a reflector, you're a 1% of the population, which is a very, very small part. You're here to be really different, and you know you feel different.
Yeah.
You are a very different kind of person, and very different in what you bring in, and very different in how you're here to live your life. You know, in previous lifetimes, previous eras, I should say, you would be the one sitting on the mountaintop meditating and communing with Goddess, the universe, however, you know, whatever resonates for you. And then people around you, your community below, would climb up the mountain to feed you and ask for your wisdom. And then they would go back and give you your space again. Okay, so that is the rightful place for a reflector. So what you said about if I could only live in isolation, it's totally true. It really is the right environment for you. However, being in, you know, regular society, where do you live, by the way?
I'm in London.
Okay, so lots of people. Yes, yeah. So there is a constant recognition of everything that happens around you, right? Your aura is that, as I mentioned earlier, that sampling aura. Even if you're by yourself in your room, you will feel people in the apartment building, you will feel people in the city, you will feel people in the county. You know, you can feel everything that happens. Yes? Yeah. So for you, it's, as I mentioned earlier too, it is really important that you are aware of where you are. You know, that you are putting yourself in an environment that is healthful for you and that honors your need to be by yourself. Because when you are with someone else, you will automatically reflect that person. Yeah.
That's why they hate me, maybe.
Because they see themselves.
And I struggle. That's the most that I notice is family, because when you're with family, you just sort of like be yourself. You don't wait for an invitation to say your opinions, for example. But it always sort of like end up like, no, I wouldn't say explosion, like end up really kind of negative. And because of that, then I isolate myself from family, which is really sad in a way, because I feel like I don't have the strength to sit and watch and then keep my opinions to myself. So I move away, but moving away from family is just, it's a different level of isolation. That makes sense.
It absolutely. Absolutely. And especially because if I look in your chart here, you do have this gate of the family, right? So family is important to you. When you are with other people, you want to create that sense of family. You want to feel that sense of family.
Community.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a natural thing that you are bringing in, which is also why it can be really painful. You know, I've worked with other reflectors, and many of them say the same thing, that being with their family of origin has been a tremendous, you know, life lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes I'm either I'm gonna try and articulate this. Like, I'm very good at like reflecting back to my brain and have that sense of self-awareness and sort of like look back, oh, what happened during that dinner, and just self-reflect. I either see myself like I'm so high above and I think I know better than everyone and have this wise wisdom thing to offer, or I go into, who do you think you are to say this to people? Who do you think you are to reflect back to them? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do you think you're better than? So I go from that extreme to the other extreme, to one extreme of like, guys, look at me. I think I see what's going on. I can foresee how things are going to turn out. You know, like I see the bigger picture. I always see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's hard to be understood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, you're always are going to feel differently.
Yeah.
You're always are going to feel like you're having this oversight that other people don't.
That's the thing, oversight. That's the word.
Yeah. You're going to have that for the rest of your life. And just know that you are here. You have that wisdom on so many levels. You're here to live a really deeply spiritual life and live on, you know, if you have the 3D, you're well above that. Does that make sense? Like that oversight and the tendency may be to make yourself bad about that, to make yourself be like, who do I think I am?
I feel that sometimes, like, why do you, I feel, this is going to sound so awful. I feel sometimes like I'm higher than, I'm better than, and like at the same time, why should I be better than, higher than? I'm so ordinary. I'm so ordinary in all extent of my life.
Yes. Yeah, I get that. So remember what I said earlier around this 26th gate. It's, am I aligned with my integrity? Because then it takes it out of, I am seeing the wisdom, I am seeing this inner truth, which you have also this gate of inner truth, right? Mm-hmm. I am seeing all this. Am I coming from this place of care? Or am I coming from an ego wish that wants to be better than?
Okay.
Because, you know, you're no better or no worse than anybody else, right? On the path of spiritual growth, there are always people in front of you and always people behind you. You're just in your place where you are. And the place that you're holding at this time on the planet is so needed that I get tears, because that's what you're here to bring. You're here to bring that wisdom. And for you would be the same thing as with the projectors that we just talked about, is to find your community that recognizes you. So when you are being reflected, know that people will have a difficulty seeing in you because they will see themselves.
Yeah.
And recognize which are those people that I want to be aligned with. Who do I feel good around? Where do I find the environment beautiful again? So I can be with those people, the right people. Did I send you a little video of the reflectors?
Yeah, you sent one person,
Susan,
talking about her experience, and a general video on reflector.
Okay, yeah, okay, good, yes, because she really explained very, very clearly about what it is to be a reflector in a very busy environment and trying to make it work, and just also know that your real life is on a very different level than for most people.
So what I'm getting is to first find my community who would appreciate what I reflect back, appreciate the wisdom that I can reflect to them. And secondly, to know that when I'm reflecting, where is it coming from? Is it coming from a place of care or a place of wanting to win, which happens a lot with family, where you just want to win.
Yes.
And that's, say, for example, if I come from a place of care and honest intention and it backfires, do I then, like projector, just back off because I'm sort of not being invited?
Yeah, I would say it depends on the situation. You know, then kind of watch what happens. And if you feel, because you are so attuned, if you feel that they're so out of their own values, they're so not living in alignment with their values, that just one little tweak in the way that you say something may sometimes just create that opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So be open to your environment, because that's where all your information is available. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
All right.
Great. That is so clear. Thank you so much.
All right. You're so welcome. Pleasure.
Thanks.
Okay. So I know we're at the top of the hour. What I want to do is one last slide, or one last chart, and I have more charts. What I'd like to do is actually save those other charts for next time. I'll go through them and see which one I've already answered. If it was about the projectors, I kind of feel at this moment we've answered that, unless I get more questions around that. But let me talk about Natalie, because she sent this really great question. I have to move my image around so I can read the question. Okay, so I would love to know more about the solar plexus, what it means to be emotionally defined, or the authority. And I feel the wave of emotions that come and go in my life, and I'm curious about strategies for working with that wave. I watched the class, but I'm still not clear on what it means to make decisions from the solar plexus. Do I clue into my emotions in a certain way? Do I wait until I don't feel emotions? And what do I do in the moment when I have to make a decision, but I'm feeling strong emotions? Yes, that makes absolute sense. And then we'll go into your second question. So, beautiful chart. Natalie, are you? Okay, don't move anybody. All right, Natalie, are you still on the line? Are you still here with us? You may have left because it is the top of the hour. So what I want to say about your chart, first of all, you have this beautiful chart. As we can see, she's also a projector, and Natalie has a triple split. In other words, for Natalie, it does take more time to kind of weigh the options, to get all the different pieces together, and really get the most information out of whatever she is dealing with to make a decision about a particular situation. Now, one thing when you're looking at the emotional center, right over here, so this emotional center is connected with this beautiful channel of community that she has too, so people around her feel like she's part of her community. The thing is that she doesn't even know this. Like, Natalie, you're not even aware of how beautifully this operates for you. And so having your emotional center be your authority, this is how the best way for you to make a decision is to wait out your emotions until you get to clarity. Now, when you're not necessarily aware of where your emotions are coming from, that may not always be the easiest way. So here's what you can do. Your particular emotional wave is one that is both tribal and through the abstract wave. So the tribal wave goes like this. Something happens, someone does something to you, and I'm hurt, but I'm not going to say anything. And then someone does something again, and again you're, I'm hurt, but I'm still not going to say anything. And then that other person does something which may or may not be related, but that tension has been building in you that all of a sudden you just explode. Why are you always doing this? Right? So that is something that will happen, and just be aware of that is just a way that how those emotions work for you. That as you are going through your emotional wave around different things, you will recognize that you will have different questions. So here you are dealing with a job issue, right? Someone offers you a job, and you think, gosh, that sounds really great. I can make this lots of money. I may have to move to this other country, but that might be interesting. I love to travel, all these different things. Lots to kind of play with, like, what am I available for? As you are following your wave, you'll notice these different questions. Like, Am I really getting that much money? Am I gonna get a bonus? Am I going to get a 401k? What about health insurance? Those kinds of questions will come up. When can I start? How much vacation will I get? All these different questions will come up as you're going through your wave. And you may have moments that you think, well, I better not do it because I don't think that this is the right thing, because I'm probably going to have to work way too much to be with my family. Who knows what the questions will be, but you'll find that you will see the situation in different ways depending on how you feel emotionally. The emotions will never come to 100% clear, clean place where you don't feel emotions at all, because the emotional wave is always moving. But you will come to a place where you'll feel about 70, 80% like, yeah, I feel recognized, right? Natalie, as a projector, you need to feel recognized for what I'm bringing in. I feel invited, right? They gave me an offer letter and everything. I feel invited. And my emotions at this point, I've weighed all the questions. I've got as much information as I could. Now I feel good with that. So I can say yes, or I can say, I'd rather not. Okay. If you are being pressured to have to make a decision, allow yourself to get yourself an out. And what that looks like for me is when I had a job offer, and I have that same configuration as you do, I actually asked them, can I think about it? And by the time I had to make a decision, I was about 70%, yeah, this sounds good. And it ended up being a great, great decision. And if not, then you can always go back on it later, right? If you stop feeling recognized, if you stop feeling invited. I hope that makes sense. And then a brief background on the transition of the planets and the moons, how they affect us. So that's a huge conversation, but what I thought was to bring it into a little bit of a message, my message for how to up-level our energy for this coming month, and especially this coming week. So these are my depictions of two different gates. So we are just coming out of the 18th gate, and I don't know if you've noticed it this past week, but everything was around improving, around looking at things that weren't quite right, noticing all these things that were just a little off, and then thinking, well, maybe I could do it this way. Maybe you reorganized your living room. Maybe you redid different systems. But everything that the 18th gate brings in is this desire to want to improve things on a societal level. What we tend to do is make it really personal. So this may have been a time where you did some real deep soul searching, like where am I not living up to my purpose? Where am I not doing the right thing? Where am I making it really personal versus where is the structure? Where is the support? Where are the patterns that I can support or that need to be up-leveled, that need to be changed in order for us to bring the new into the world? Well, this past week has been politically a very challenging week. So that 18th gate has definitely been shaking things up in that aspect, right? Where we're shifting into now is this 48th gate, the well. The 48th gate has everything to do with knowledge. It has everything to do with education. It's back to school. We're back into, vacations are over, back into the nitty-gritty of life in order to make our daily work happen again. So the well gives us an opportunity to look at what information do I have that's currently serving me? Where do I need to learn more, deepen more? Because just sitting with the status quo is not going to serve you. Here's this picture of the well, and the well is such that if you have a bunch of water and it's just sitting there, then it gets stale. And so the top level may still be somewhat good, right? But the deeper you go, the more you get into the sediment. While if you're bringing in the new, then everything has a chance to refresh over and over. So I made a couple of slides about this. The gate of improving, like what is wrong, what needs to be changed, that we tend to bring it into our own personal way of being, while it is actually about what the society can need. Where is the upgrade that's necessary there versus the well? Can it become a swamp, and swamps have their own beauty? Or where am I digging up new information? Where am I refreshing things, right? Okay, so I want to leave this here for now. We are a little bit over time. Thank you for sticking with me. And like I said, we'll keep the next charts for next time. Always so fun. I hope this was helpful to everybody, and I wish you all a wonderful month coming up. Oh, and one thing, I am going to do a live class level 2. Level 1, as you know, is now available as an online self-study program, so you can study that on your own and get ready for level 2 if you want to join. Level 1 is all about it's about the background of human design, it's about the types, it's about the centers, so you can start to practice with how you are allowing yourself to be on track or off track, where you feel you're being pulled off the who and where you are. Level 2 is really in depth in all the different gates and the channels, which is a very enlightening experience, as well as very validating, because you get to see all these little components of what ultimately makes you you. And you can see how everything just ties together that way. Okay, so if you're interested in either level, let me know. If you haven't done level 1 and you want to sign up for level 2 and don't really want to do level 1, that's fine too. Just know that level 1 does give you a lot of foundational information. But I'd love to see you both, or all of you there. It's very fun to do. It will start November 2nd. And yeah, I will definitely use people's charts in that as well, so you really get a deeper insight in the different pieces of you. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Have a great month, and looking forward to reconnecting in other ways. Take care.